Hey everyone, and welcome to the playlist Music with Mrs. Elsie podcast. Today I have Mr. Eric Koch here today with us. Hi Eric.
Hi, how are you?
He's one of the busiest people I know, so the fact that I'm getting 15 minutes is kind of awesome. So I won't keep you forever, but we're here today to basically talk about just getting different perspectives as we get ready to start the new school year. I think we all kind of get into a little bubble and we forget that everyone's going through something different. So we're going to just kind of talk about that today. But first, what a time to transition to a new school, Eric. Like, it's one thing to switch buildings. It's another to switch buildings during the apocalypse, you know? So what has that been like for you?
It's been a challenge, honestly. I've been at the high school. I've been at the junior high. A lot of people don't know when I first started doing my student teaching and my field observations, I was actually placed in the middle school. Okay. And I love the middle school. I love 5th and 6th graders. But then when, I got into the district, which was in 1999, there was a position in the junior high, and that's when we were all one junior high. So I started my career off there, and then we split into two. I actually was moved over to Lakeview, and I was there for about 5 to 7 years. Then I went into administration. I went up to Central, and then I got chosen as the Ridgeview head principal about 5 years ago. So from an administrative aspect of it, there's a lot of things that I think of with the schedule secondary level. Mm-hmm. So I know the routines in high school. Right. I know the routines in junior highs. I haven't yet been able to see like the real routines of the middle school. Right. So just not knowing what you don't know, that just adds a little anxiety. I mean, we know how to schedule and do all the routines and everything like that, but just not being through it, right. That's the only thing that kind of adds to the anxiety.
And we have a really bizarre schedule at the middle school. We have like a trimester thing that goes against a semester split thing with specials that it's a little weird. So it's not just those blocks of certain numbers of minutes, which is probably what you're used to. But once you see it, it will click. But yeah, it's the unknowns, I think, are the struggle for everybody right now. Just anything that we don't know. So that totally makes sense. Which leads us into kind of the topic of the day, which is just how we can all benefit from learning about people's perspectives and what they're going through. Because I just know for me, like, maybe it's just me, but like when I get stressed, I am not a good listener. I am not a good empathizer. And I think when people are stressed, and it's like, especially right now, it's this prolonged, extreme situation for everybody, like everywhere. I know it just makes me internalize everything, and it's all about my struggle, my anxiety, my family, and I get real me when I'm stressed out. And because of that, I don't listen well. I don't reach out and ask anybody how they're doing because I'm too into my stuff. And so when you multiply that like across the board with everybody, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. And when we don't talk, then we can't learn and we can't figure it out, So if, from your perspective as a building principal, if you, and you can give me a couple things, but like, what is your biggest, like right now in this moment, as things as we know that they're going to be for now, what is the biggest challenge that you're looking at right now that you're just really struggling with? Or you can say a couple things. I mean, I'm sure there's not just one, but.
Yeah, I mean, where do you start, right? So I think the biggest priority, number one, is obviously in this world that we live in now with this pandemic that's happening. How can I possibly set up the building and the routines and the standard operating procedures with everybody in mind to try to keep everybody safe? Mm-hmm. The biggest struggle is that I always try to put myself in other people's shoes when I'm thinking of things. And so it doesn't matter what you believe in, what politics, what side you swing on a fence with, mask, no mask, that kind of stuff. I just come down to overall, how can I make sure that everybody is comfortable and everybody is safe in the building? So, and then the unknowns with that, like what variables, will evolve out of this that maybe nobody has ever even thought about, that we'll just have to adapt to and change things around and make it better. So those are the priority number one. So that's it. I mean, that's the unknown. That's the main thing that's that I struggle with the most right now, because
Yeah.
I mean, we put, I think, a pretty good procedure and plan in place, and we have our standard operating procedures for about everything that we can think of. But obviously, there's always something out there that could happen that nobody ever thought about before. So those are just the things that I have a hard time wrapping my head around.
Are you the kind of person, like, do you really take it on yourself if something goes wrong or something? Like, is that like a heavy burden you carry? Or can you, I know I would, because I'm just very sensitive. Or are you able to understand, like, I can't do everything? Or like, which one are you?
I think I'm more of the first one, where I take all the burden.
Mm-hmm.
If something doesn't go right, even if it's not my fault or anything like that, it's going to be my fault. So I take that on. Like,
Sure.
Well, maybe I could have done this better. Maybe I could have communicated this better. Maybe I could have so I try to work with people in that regards. And again, like, even when there's situations that pop up, or, with individual circumstances, I try to take the circumstance by how it's being presented to me and try to live in that person's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously some of the decisions I'm going to have to make aren't going to always be agreed upon, but I am at least willing to listen,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll have to decide. And, I try to live my life that way, just to be empathetic and try to think that way with individuals. And, sometimes when I give answers that people don't necessarily like, they might not think that, but truly I do. I worry about those kind of things, and I want to make sure that I'm trying to help out as best I can, but sometimes I have to make rough decisions, and that's just part of leadership.
It is. And I think sometimes when all of us are in our little bubble of stress, we don't think about that part, about, like, you have just as much that you're struggling with in a different direction, and it affects a lot of people, and that's not an easy place to be. And the decisions are not, like, no one's getting out easy right now. Like, no one's getting off easy. And I think we have to be more sensitive to just, like, your leadership and all of the people that are up there making decisions for everybody. It's just tough. It's a really tough thing. What is something that you would want your teachers to know about you, or about how you process stuff, or how you deal with things? Like, if you could tell them ahead of time, like, this is how I do things, just so you know, what would you say?
That when a decision is being made, I really try to think it through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not making a decision just to make a decision. I will really try to think of in everybody's shoes. I care deeply about people. I want them to have a positive relationship or atmosphere to come to school. It doesn't matter if it's a parent that's coming in, a student coming in, or a staff member. I think this should be a good atmosphere. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to control everything.
Right.
And I do try to do that, and that's some of the things that I got to try to get better at myself. So within the district, and one things that I really try to practice is E+R=O.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have these events in life, and how you're going to respond to them produces either a negative or a positive outcome for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody chooses to do things, even though I'm trying to do my best for them, or I can't control their emotions, I can't control how they're going to react, I can't control certain things that maybe they have to deal with. And that's hard for me, because, I took the color test and I'm a blue.
Me too. I'm a blue.
I care about everybody.
Yep,
and I
care about everyone.
I worry about them and all that kind of stuff. So this is definitely something I got to work on. But,
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I think staff and students need to know about me, is that that's the way I am. So, but I need to work on that. I can't control other people's actions. I just got to make sure that I have a good response and try to produce the best outcome I can.
And do you have any, like, go-to things that you do for, like, self-care, like disconnect, get away, do something, even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes of your day that you just disconnect? What are your, like, top things that you do?
Oh, geez. Lately, it's been that my sons play baseball, and so I help coach and I help join them. So, like, my therapy is when they ask me to throw bullpen sessions.
Oh, okay.
I throw BP to the kids. That's probably my most favorite thing to do right now, just to unwind.
Because you're not thinking about anything else, and that, like, you're just throwing
Correct.
the ball, you know?
Yeah, and I'm helping kids. Like,
Yeah.
like, coaching is very similar to teaching in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm out there again, like I feel like I'm out in the classroom, and it doesn't matter what age it is, I just want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever knowledge I have and I can help them maybe to discover something, or, hey, do you ever think about this? Or, hey, do you understand this is why we're doing this? Like, we're catching
Mm-hmm.
this way, or when you swing, all that kind of stuff. I just get back into the groove of, that's my why. That's why I got into this in the first place. That's my happy zone. So that's,
Right.
yeah.
That's good. You have to do that. I think I get in this rut of like, I just have to keep working and working and working, or else people will think I'm lazy, or they think I not doing anything. And you can just burn yourself out. You're not winning anything when you're exhausted and stressed and short tempered. I mean, it's ridiculous, So I try to get outside and even just walk around the block a little bit, breathe actual oxygen from the earth and not from a building. I force myself out because I can get really internalized and just not take care of myself. So it's important that you're doing that. And I'm glad that you are, because you guys need it every bit as much, if not more, than the teachers need it.
I definitely need to get out and exercise more. That's for sure. Yeah, that's the other thing.
The ball, okay? I mean,
I know.
Not the same as, intense cardio, but
right.
You got to do what you can, And one last question. This is music related. Okay.
Yeah.
You ready for this? What is a guilty pleasure song for you? Like, it comes on the radio, you crank that up, and you shamelessly sing along. What is that song, or a song?
Oh man. It really depends on the genre for me.
Okay.
The genre that I grew up listening to and I love the most is Motown.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Motown just fills my heart. R&B, hip hop, I like that too. This last and I'm a mixed bag, I guess, because I like all different things. I'll listen to anything. I'll go from
I'm the same way.
I'll go to Latin. I'll go to jazz. Right now, I'm kind of on a like bluesy country type of feel. So like Chris Stapleton, that kind of stuff is what I really like, that has a lot of soul, but yet a little bit different. But if I had to go to a guilty pleasure,
this should be embarrassing. Okay.
I gotta go 80s then. That's
fine.
80s.
Mine is 80s too.
I mean, there's a couple good 80 tunes that I like that I'll sing out loud. Journey is probably one of them that I'll go to. Don't Stop Believing, and that kind of stuff.
So if we have karaoke night, we're cranking up some Don't Stop Believing, some Journey. I will tell you.
I can do that one.
I don't care where I am or who I'm with, or whether it is socially appropriate or not. If Africa comes on by Toto, I am like I am full out interpretive dance and every word to that song. It's embarrassing for anyone around me, but I can't. It's in my blood. I can't get away from it.
Well, I'm a guilty pleasure as well too. I love Snoop Dogg. Oh
my gosh, yes.
When that song comes, any song, I will sing with Snoop Dogg. I love Snoop Dogg.
I just had a conversation with somebody the other, like maybe 2 weeks ago, about how like it is just impossible to not like Snoop Dogg. Is the greatest. We all love him. So you're in good company. So, well, thank you so much for coming and giving me some of your time today, because I know that it is in short supply, but I truly do appreciate it. And I think it would benefit all of us to kind of think about what you guys are going through as leaders of these buildings. I don't envy you. I have the utmost respect for you, but it's tough. Leading is tough. And sometimes we forget that when we're like all wrapped up in our own little stress ball. So as always, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can go to anchor.fm/theplaylistlc, and you can follow us on YouTube with Music with Mrs. LC. So thank you so much for coming again, Eric, and I appreciate you taking time for us, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks.